Beyond Bitcoin Hangouts are meant to give everyone a voice, a chance to speak with others who are passionate advocates for expanding the blockchain's use cases out into the world and beyond. Do you have a crypto community you would like to represent and hold open hangouts for? If so, you might find yourself on the path to owning a stake in Beyond Bitcoin. We are looking for people who care about people who want to bring others together, because crypto communities are people. Beyond Bitcoin is a movement of thinkers and doers in the crypto space. And if you feel you are one of them, reach out to beyondbitcoin@gmail.com for more information on how to debut your community's efforts to reach to the stars and beyond. Welcome everybody to another Beyond Bitcoin Hangout. Today is Friday, February 17th, 2017, and we hold these hangouts every week at 10 a.m. Eastern or 3 p.m. UTC. We're joined every week by a bunch of people who love blockchain technology and what it can do for the world that we see that needs to be fixed. There are a lot of systems that need to be revamped, that need to be empowering people, and that need to empower and enable a level of transparency and accountability that really has not been quite in our reach before this technology was available. So with that said, we tried to create something slightly different with Beyond Bitcoin than most, where we enable people to join up, and unlike most media venues, you do not have to pay us to join up and talk about your project. You do not have to do anything extra other than go simply to the steemit.com website, go to the Beyond Bitcoin tag and search for the latest RSVP thread. If you have a lot of people who trust you, urge them to join Steem, which is the newest graphene chain in the BitShares ecosystem. It is traded on BitShares. It is in the top 12 cryptocurrencies in the world currently, and it has a lot going for it. So what we like to do is we like to tell everybody that in this graphene ecosystem, we have this technology that enables us to have people join up who trust us and upvote our project. So if you have people who on your other social networks know you to be a valuable individual who wants to create a lot of value for people and who wants to help the world and wants to build amazing things and is doing it, and they know that, leverage them, reach out to them, bring them on board to upvote you so we can cover you first in the Hangouts. All that is established is the order of precedence that you will see coverage occur in. We will have segments, and I want to thank Kernel and now AppleCrisp, because AppleCrisp and Kernel, I believe, are working together to actually cut up these individual segments to make it so you can have your segment and just promote it. So with that said, today we have 3 different individuals who are going to be talking. Some are regulars frequenting our Hangouts. Others are people who are new. So we'll go ahead and I'll say that we're going to cover first. It's going to be PeerPlays project, and that is Data Security Node and Crypto Prometheus, who's going to be covering that. They're going to provide some updates and take some community questions. Next is going to be Virtual Growth. He's going to be talking about the VirtualGrow BitShares UIA. He says here to invest in the crypto and the community. And with that said, I also want to remind everybody that he has a really cool idea called the Magic the Gathering DEX, Magic the Gathering Market, which is kind of like Mt. Gox, only it's a DEX. Mt. Gox before the Bitcoin, right? Ironically, which is kind of beautiful in and of itself. With that said, we're going to then move on to Sensi Kite, or TK, Sensi TK. Is that correct?
Yeah, Sensei TK.
Thank God. And he's going to be talking about Thirsty Entertainment, which is a digital media company for blockchain technologies. He is the founder and CEO of Thirsty Entertainment, and I will say that I love the name. I don't know where you came up with the branding for Thirsty Entertainment, but I love it. So with that said, let's go ahead and move forward and I'll ask PeerPlays representatives, Data Security Node and Crypto Prometheus, to step up to the plate, and I'll step back and let you guys do what you do best.
Thank you very much, Fuzzy. Hello, everybody. My name is Jonathan Bahai. I am the president of the PeerPlays Blockchain Standards Association. We are a nonprofit organization which is dedicated to the development and promotion of provable fair gaming standards on the PeerPlays blockchain. So, as many of you know from our many updates over the past year, my company, Bunker Chain Labs, was the custodian of the PeerPlays project for the past year. But it has recently been handed over to the PBSA, the PeerPlays Blockchain Standards Association. And today, I have some exciting news for you. As you know, from many of our updates, we've been alluding to not only the development going on, but the response we're getting in the industry. We've had interest from key players in blockchain and online gaming space, and in the gambling space as well. And we've connected with a lot of talented and dedicated people over the period that we've been developing, and the momentum has continued to grow. So with that, I'm very happy to announce that today, well, not today, but actually recently, I'd like to share that we have raised $4 million from several strategic donors prior to the launch of the public crowd sale next Sunday. So this is big news, but it is just the beginning. And we have more big news coming in the weeks ahead. So it's very important that you do stay tuned to Beyond Bitcoin here, because this is where you heard it first. We always like to make sure that all you avid listeners are able to get the lowdown on what's happening with PeerPlays as soon as it happens right here. So I know that Michael has many more details to go over regarding the crowd sale, which we'll be providing more details on in the coming week. But with that said, I'm going to pass it on to Michael, and he'll be able to take care of those details and be able to take care of any questions you may have. Thank you very much, everybody.
Thank you, Data.
Oh, good morning, everyone. My name is Michael Maloney. I am the Director of Intelligence at the PBSA. And I want to talk a little bit today about the details of the upcoming crowd sale. Now, the crowd sale itself begins on the 26th of February. That's Sunday morning. And we have... You know, I was going to go into quite a bit of detail here today, but we have a lot of documentation that's coming out in a few days here, and I think that it probably would maybe make the most sense for me to just share with you guys a little bit of a sort of higher level overview, some background, and the nature of the token allocations, how we arrived at the final token allocations, so everyone can get a sense for the sort of ecosystem that they're going to be moving into, or potentially donating to, as we have our upcoming public crowd sale. So back in May and June of 2016, Jonathan and myself, along with the rest of the PeerPlays team, posted a projected allocations on our peerplays.com/news website. This projected allocations included such things as allocations of PeerPlays tokens for software and business development, partnerships. We had 200,000 that were allocated for the initial PeerPlays donation that was collected back in May and June of 2016. That was the seed fund. We collected about $500,000, which allowed us to build a number of very wonderful innovations for graphene and for specifically the PeerPlays blockchain, the upcoming PeerPlays blockchain. And also we have, of course, 5% of PeerPlays is being share dropped onto BitShares holders. That snapshot for that share drop happened back in September. So if you were a BitShares holder then and you were sort of paying attention to everything that was going on, you probably likely had participated in that snapshot, and you'll have some PeerPlays coming when the blockchain launches. And so the token count, the total token count, count was 1 million tokens. And I'm going to actually call that the unit count right now. And the reason for that is because what we've decided to do is to do, I guess the best way to describe it would be a split. And what that means is that for every one outstanding PeerPlays UIA token, 10 PPY tokens will be allocated on the new PeerPlays blockchain. So essentially what we're doing is, we wanted to create a little bit more liquidity. We didn't want to go too crazy, of course. The PeerPlays token is something that we always felt would be a little bit more exclusive, if only in terms of just the not necessarily in terms of the distribution, but just in terms of a lower number of shares or number of tokens than a lot of other chains. But we decided to increase it a little bit. So that 10x then applies to what I'm about to share with you. Assuming that we had allocated the full projected allocation, which we said would be 1 million, that would mean that there would be 10 million PPY that would be allocated. However, as everything worked itself out and as we were able to bring on board a number of strategic donors in the background, as well as a number of very, very talented software developers and other industry partners, we're actually only allocating about 60% of what we originally projected. So what does that mean? Well, it means that there will be 6 million, roughly 6 million. It's a little bit less. It's like 5,900,000 something. I don't have it in front of me. Tokens when the PeerPlays blockchain launches. What that means essentially for most of you, if you are holding PeerPlays UIA tokens right now, is that rather than your allocation, the total allocation being about 20% of the total blockchain, it's now about 1/3 of the total blockchain. So your proportional stake has increased pretty significantly through the the efforts of many people here who have been working on this for a long time. So so that's very exciting news. We're really just so so happy to be finally sharing all of this with you guys. And I just wanted to add one other thing. The crowdfund will be Bitcoin. It will be what the donations we're accepting will be 100% in Bitcoin. I wanted to mention that there were some people that were asking about whether or not we were going to be accepting other currencies or digital currencies, and Bitcoin will be the primary token that we're accepting. We have roughly I want to say close to 30 pages of excellent documentation, many exciting things that we're going to be sharing with you this Tuesday. So please head over to the PeerPlays.com site and also the PeerPlays.com/news websites this Tuesday. Check out all the stuff that we're going to have coming out. Of course, if you're a member of our, or if you're on our email list, you're going to get that emailed to you directly as well. So all of that said, I probably didn't give nearly as much information as some of you might have been hoping for, but of course I'll do that, and I promised I promised everyone that I'd keep my answers short, so I'll do my best in that regard. But yeah, if anybody has any questions, fire away.
First off, wonderful news, guys, and I must say, I've been very impressed by everything that you guys are doing behind the scenes. It's been stunning to watch it, and I feel personally blessed to have been able to be part of it. So, and even in a small way, I appreciate that. So with that said, G Chicken has a question, and then maybe we can go to V-Ball Cool. Q here, he says, to clarify, is this just for holders of the PeerPlays UIA, which is the one that was previously traded on BitShares, or does this increase from 20 to 33% include share dropped PPY?
Yeah, so I do want to clarify the 20 to 33%. So what I was referring to there was that there were 200,000 UIAs, and our projected maximum number of allocation was going to be 1 million. So that 200,000 out of 1 million would be 20%. We now have 10x'd everything, but obviously the percentages are still the same. However, rather than allocating 10 million tokens, there's only going to be roughly 6 million allocated, which means that 200,000, or rather that 2 million, now becomes 33% of the entire chain. Now, I'll answer one other question that may be what maybe you were referring to, and that would be the BitShares share drop. If you were talking about that, the BitShares share drop will be 5% of the chain, as we originally announced, of course. So 5% of the total allocations will be share dropped onto the snapshot that we took last September.
Awesome news. It seems like that answered Geek Chicken's question, so I'll go ahead and I'll feel free to go on to VBall Cool, who says, how will crowd sale for the 4 million tokens be administered? Is it auction style or is it at a set price?
Sure. So the crowd sale will not be for the remaining 4 million tokens. I can give you rough estimations right now, but I don't have the page in front of me. The exact numbers are all spelled out very clearly in the documentation that we'll have out on Tuesday. But the public crowd sale will be for 950,000 tokens. The private allocation, as Jonathan mentioned, is for 1 million tokens. We have roughly 70,000 or so tokens, if memory serves correctly, that have been allocated to software development and business partners. We have, of course, the roughly 30,000 or so, a little bit more, that is the 5% of the BitShares share drop. And then we have the remaining million tokens that were allocated to PeerPlays core team members.
VBall Cool, does that answer your question, or do you feel like you need some more details? Feel free to let us know.
So I've got another question here from G Chicken. He says, can you speak to the motivations of strategic donors? I don't usually like to make a habit of speaking to anyone else's motivations or motives. I don't think there's really any realistic way that one can do that. However, I will say that we have a number of aligned interests that are working very closely with us, and a number of their partners that have come on board because of the nature of the space that we're setting up and the potential for the technology and the project that we've begun to build. So the truth is, one thing we're very, very adamant about, of course, naturally, is protecting the identity and everyone who's involved will. Many people will likely be making themselves known in various ways, but at this stage, all we can say is that we've got a lot of really great people on board that are pretty big players in the space and are going to be bringing a lot of value well beyond the capital that they've been able to contribute to the project.
Awesome. Well, VBall Cool has a follow up to his question, just so we can make sure that we don't miss it. He says, on the 950K available for crowd sale, will it be sold as the initial 2 rounds in the first crowd sale?
No, that's a great question. Actually, it will be 4 rounds, and the 4 rounds, I'm not going to go into the details, but I'll just answer your question. It will actually be 4 rounds, but a similar tiered structure.
Solomon says, was the price already mentioned, which I believe it has not been. However, I will say that Solly, you were holding BitShares at the time of the snapshot in the BitShares DEX, as opposed to a centralized DEX. So you will be getting them share dropped on you, just to let you know. But I'll go ahead and I'll step back and I'll let Crypto finish that part.
Yeah, I don't really have anything more to add. If that was the case, then you are one of the many in the BitShares community that we were seeking to both reward and motivate to become a part of PeerPlays and to support PeerPlays and to make PeerPlays as awesome as it can possibly be when we launch. So thank you, Sally.
So you're saying basically that the BitShares community was a very valuable demographic to get the support of, which is why you chose to share drop on it, and try to adhere to some semblance of the social consensus that we've always tried to hold close to our chests as we've been working hard to build the basic technology that people can build amazing things like what you guys are doing. One question that I will ask: do you guys have the price figured out yet? I know that you've mentioned it at points in time, but I don't recall if it was on the Hangout or in Mumble when we had our private meetings. So I don't want to. I'll step back and let you. Even if you've been talking about it like before, I'll just let you iterate it.
Yeah, we haven't mentioned it publicly. We've had it figured out for quite some time, but all that information will be posted on Tuesday. So
Okay.
yeah, keep an eye on the website.
So that is, and go ahead, please tell that everybody. That's peerplays.com/news. Is that correct?
Yeah, peerplays.com/news. You can also follow us on Steam, which is the handle at PeerPlays. And the crowd sale itself will be conducted from just the peerplays.com website, which is our main website. And and if you want to jump in the Slack channel, it is Rocket Chat channel, which is like Slack. It's https://peerplays.chat.
Awesome. Solly has a follow-up question here to his initial question, and that is, what is the limit to buying? Is there a limit on how many peer plays a single individual can purchase?
Yeah, I can answer that. Because it is a Bitcoin sale, or a Bitcoin crowdfund rather, we will have a Bitcoin address. The Bitcoin address will be the share drop address for the Genesis block allocations. So because of that, it's impossible to limit because as you know, anyone who had 100 Bitcoins, and if it was limited to 50, they could simply split it into two addresses with 50 and send them both separately. So so that said, there is no limit, no.
Real quick, I did overlook T-Bone's question, and thank you, Solly, for pointing this out. He asked here, what is the PeerPlays market cap? What was the PeerPlays market cap before trading stopped in December? I know the answer, but I'll let you answer.
Sure. Well, there were roughly 200,000 or so outstanding tokens, and we had the final closing price of $41, I think right around $41 a piece.
And it was at that time actually above Steam and market cap. I believe it was at around 41 million at the time. So that's pretty damn good.
Yep, we are more than any other concern of ours focused on building something of lasting value. One of the things that we have that no one else has in the crypto space right now. No one has even really proposed a way to do it but us. In fact, we haven't just proposed a way to do it, we've actually written the code and presented that publicly and made it open source and MIT licensed. And that is creating a profit-sharing token, a token that pays to hold, a token that basically kicks back to the holders and the owners of the network itself a portion of all the fees and commissions that are generated by the network. Of course, in the case of PeerPlays, that's quite a significant value proposition, as many people have come to realize and understand due to the nature of the activities that we are designing PeerPlays to be able to accommodate, which of course includes sports betting exchange, which we're well underway to building as we speak, and also several casino games and several other really exciting, completely decentralized, no servers, applications that plug directly into the blockchain API and allow you to play games and wager with anyone in the world. So so we've got that's I think all of that said, it's not our habit to really comment or concern ourselves with what the market cap is or what it may be. We just really want to do this in such a way that we're building lasting value for PeerPlays and for everyone who holds the tokens.
Well, I think that it's fair to say that you guys have done precisely that up to this point, and you have stunned a lot of people with just how efficient and effective you have been in what you've accomplished. And I look forward to seeing more of it. I know that there's more stuff that you guys can't talk about today necessarily, but I know that it's not the end of the good news. And I can tell people that from my standpoint, stepping back from crypto and data themselves, man, every single person who's into sports betting and betting is going to get interested in this stuff, man. And graphene's going to be on, it's going to go prime time. So thank you guys, because I think that you guys are going to be the ones who kick it home. Steam really opened up some doors, I won't lie. But I think the sports betting arena really is going to be one of the places where it shines.
Yeah, we think the same thing, and we've got so many people that are working so hard, and one of the things that I've always taken very seriously and taken to heart is the reality that there's absolutely no way that this could be happening right now without all of this support, all of the people who hold, all the people who participate. There hasn't been as much participation, perhaps, as there will be very, very soon. So we all know the nature of blockchains, and we don't have too many examples of operating graphene chains out there yet. We've seen, however, how adamant the communities of both BitShares and Steam are. How absolutely self-motivated and really just creative everyone is, and there's a reason for that. There's the graphene technology, delegated proof of stake. There's something very, very valuable in it. Everyone senses it if they don't truly grasp the nature of it. Those of us who do sort of see it from the inside and understand the nature of exactly what the technology is capable of there's just really nothing I can say without being hyperbolic to explain to anyone what we're going to have at our fingertips in a very short period of time. Thanks largely in part to both the current PeerPlays holders and also a number of inside strategic donors, and of course then everyone who is able to participate in our upcoming public crowd sale. So we're going to have a really good mix of very hopefully enthusiastic and ready to rock and roll PeerPlay supporters. And we also have a testnet of PeerPlay's core wallet that we'll be making public in a week or two as well. So you guys are going to be able to see right off the bat the core wallet that we've been working on for the last about 6 months or so. So yeah, exciting stuff. I'm really happy and excited, and can't wait to move into this next major phase of PeerPlays.
Crypto, I know that I'm supposed to cut it off early, but this is kind of a big one for you guys, and I feel like this is kind of a milestone. So let's go ahead and ask this last quick question that G Chicken has. He says, will the incentive structure for holders be detailed on Tuesday?
The incentive structure for holders. Well, I'm not sure, quite how to answer that question. I'm assuming there's many.
Would it be real quick? Is it safe to say, G Chicken, that you're asking in terms of the payouts to token holders? Because that's something we have covered to a degree, and I think Crypto might be able to talk about that a little bit.
Oh yeah, well, yeah. He's asking about the profit share. If you want to learn exactly, I don't know how proficient you are at sort of looking at API calls and sort of deconstructing them. I know personally I don't write code, but I can usually look at an API and kind of read the documentation and understand what the gist of it is. We have that posted. We posted that back in July on peerplays.com/news, so you can look at exactly what that feature does, that module that we created for Graphene. That's also MIT licensed and open source, which means that any Graphene chain is able to use that and fork it in if they wish. And yeah, that's all posted in great detail on peerplays.com/news. You'll have to go back and look through the archives. I think we posted it around the 4th of July or so.
Awesome. Well, thank you, Crypto. Is there anything that yourself or Data might have that you guys would like to speak about before we close off this section?
I don't think so. Right now, yeah, it's going on midnight here by me, so
I'm feeling you, buddy. I'm not beginning to understand what you go through.
Well, it's Friday night, so it's been a long week and a lot of exciting stuff, and of course we're just going nonstop here as we got the crowdfund launching in about a week. So, but yeah, thanks again, everybody. I can't emphasize enough how important it is that everybody is here all the time. I mean, I think there's something even beyond just our own sort of individual interests and excitement about these things. This is where things are happening. This is where connections are being made, and this is just going to continue to grow. So thank you, Fuzzy, too, for everything that you do. And I'm going to sign out now before I sort of fade out and start mumbling and mumble. So take care, guys.
Thank you very much. And real quick before we let you guys off, how do they contact you if anybody who's listening wants to reach out and work with you? I think this is an important aspect that we should probably not forget, because I know we talk about it every week, but there are always new people who are listening. So feel free to give that information now before you check out, please.
Sure. Jonathan, are you still on? Do you want to maybe give out some email addresses here or some other contact info?
Yes. You can reach me at jbahai@pbsa.info. You could also send an email to powerup@peerplays.com. You can join our Rocket Chat at peerplays.chat. And you can also be able to connect with us at any of our social media outlets, such as Facebook. We have a Facebook page, LinkedIn, and Twitter. You'll be able to find PeerPlays and be able to follow us and keep up on everything that's going on. It's certainly good for everybody to share what's going on with the PeerPlays project. And of course, because you're all here, I'm preaching to the choir. You're going to hear it first here at Beyond Bitcoin, though. So, but it's great to be able to connect with everyone, and that's about it.
And I really want to, I really want to thank you guys, because not every project out there has this level of honor, of respect for the people who came before and early on kind of really were building the foundations of this. And you guys have done some amazing stuff with just the foundations. You've built something that I believe, from what I've seen, has been stunning to me along the entire way. And I've been lucky enough to be able to see it before it comes out. But I can personally say that I've been through a lot in this ecosystem. I've found people who will take your money and not do a whole lot. I've found people who will do a whole lot in addition, but those people are a rarity, and you guys have really pulled through. You've given back when you didn't necessarily have to, because it was a completely voluntary thing. But I suspect that the fact that you guys considered doing this and have always tried to keep close to the people who've made it possible and have helped you guys along the way by helping to build this infrastructure and the foundation, to give back to them has been to see. And I really, personally, I think that it deserves respect and thanks, because there are a lot of people out there who've come out acting like their project was the first of its kind, and they basically just cloned BitShares and took away all of the innovation, the DEX and all that good stuff, and kind of acted like they had no help along the way. You guys have kind of given thank you and have been humble along the way, and that's I've got to say, man, I've put my foot in my mouth a couple times, and I'm glad that I've learned my lesson on this. You guys have been amazing. and it's just stunning to watch it. So thank you guys very much, and thank you for being part of this. With that
Thank you,
said,
Fuzzy.
of course, man. That's why I'm here, because we're in this place where we get to see this amazing tech go to the moon and go out into the public and spread like a wildfire of liberty and freedom that we often joke about or talk about whenever we're talking about the whole concept of fixing the issues that we see in today's societies. And provably fair gaming, provably fair anything is a wonderful start, and you guys have really helped us along in that arena. With that said, I will step back and I will have to go ahead and move on to Virtual Growth, who's going to be talking today a little bit about VirtGrow, but then we'll go ahead and we'll talk about this stuff. And man, I just want to thank you guys, and I want to thank everybody here whose intrepid interest in this technology has kept them going through the hard times, because this technology is here and it's continually improving. And many people have come out and utilized our technologies and tried to improve upon it and various other things without really thanking the people who came before them and trying to take credit for all of it. I think that's a little bit disingenuous, and I personally feel like if you're not able to give credit to those who have helped you, then you're kind of not really necessarily being the most honest person. And do you want to invest in dishonest projects or people who don't want to be honest about how they came about to what they're building? So for those who are listening, if you're ever going to build a project, consider holding some bit shares and share dropping on it and thanking the community, many of whom have sacrificed a lot of their blood, sweat, and money and capital to ensure that this stuff happens. Now, with that said, I'll go ahead and I'll step back and I'll say Virtual Growth is going to be up next, and he is an intrepid man who's into community stuff like I am. But this guy reaches out. I can't say enough about him. He reaches out. He is always doing something, and he's always trying to find the best place where it'll fit. And eventually, all of these things that he's doing are going to that seemingly don't seem connected are going to connect. And I promise you guys, you're going to go, oh my gosh, this is interesting, because he doesn't give up, and he's always out there looking for people who bring value. I believe he actually had something to do with bringing Thirsty on today. So I want to thank you for that, Virtual Growth. But he's here to talk about VirtGrow, the UIA, and maybe some other things that are going on in the ecosystem with him. But Virtual Growth, rather than me sit up here and talk about you, I think it'll probably be fairer if I let you step up and talk about what's up and give your updates. So I'll step back and I'll let you do that right now, man. Thank you.
Thank you, Fuzzy. Everybody hear me well, okay?
Beautifully.
All right. Well, wouldn't it be easier if you just did this? This is just like work. All right, fair enough. Let's jump in. I did reach out and invite Sensei TK to talk about Thirsty. He's on SteamSpeak, like many of us on Discord. I also created Steam Prentice channel on Discord, which no one has been invited to yet, but I will be doing that. Some people have been interested in that idea. Steam Prentice is a crowd whale, originally a chat channel on steamit.chat to help new users, and we used to go out and ask new users to join us. I'm thinking of possibly doing that again and offering Steam and Steam Power and or Steam as a BitShares user-issued asset to encourage and reward users for helping each other and reaching out to new users potentially. So we will discuss those ideas with people in the community as well. We used to have more active users. It's been quieter, but there has been a lot of people helping still. People just pop in, people pay it forward for helping in the past, and people can always go to the Steemit channel and ask questions, and plenty of people there to answer. We have a few witnesses in our group as well. It's approximately 300 members. And then there's the crowd whale, which you may join. Anyone may join for 11.82 Steam currently. It pays out dividends essentially from curation rewards. There is also the BitShares user issue asset of Steam, STEEMP, which will not pay dividends but increase in value Steam power, which will be reinvested if people want to invest in a larger group of Steam power account. And that account is following numerous top curators based on steamwhale.com and using Streamian. Has evolved ideas. Then,
how's it going to be working with Streamian? I'm sorry to ask. Sorry to interrupt, but how is it going to be working with Streamian?
I just use that for the curation trail, and anyone who wants to follow Steam Apprentice may also follow as part of the curation trail as well, if they choose.
Awesome. I'm sorry about that. Continue. I just wanted to ensure that everybody was aware.
Never need to be sorry. I'll put all this in a bunch of posts soon. I've been busy with other stuff. Can't imagine me being busy at all. VirtualGrowth token. The VirtualGrowth token will be evolving into a cryptocurrency investment fund, essentially. I've been analyzing and investing in crypto for years now. I look at moving averages and charts and such like anybody else, but my focus is on moving averages. And with BitShares and other things, you can trade them against each other. So I sometimes trade what's going up with what's going up. That way I get more of both of those tokens at times, depending on volatility levels, or trading something that's going up against something that's going down. I also trade on margin when things are going down, because you can do that. You have that option. I have MTGO Ticks, which is the gathering token that Fuzzy mentioned. It will be exchangeable for one event ticket. I haven't been doing as much with it lately. It's going to take a little while. I have a few people who might be collections for that token, but it is a post on MTGO as of this morning in the commercial section offering BitShares user issued asset of MTGO ticks 4 cards for anyone interested in selling cards. So I'm not sure exactly how I'm going to do that marketplace wise, but that's one of the markets. And then I'm going to look at the potential of using different tokens and cryptocurrency to do a marketplace of buying and selling. So I'll probably use coinpayments.net. That's the easier ones. I've used it before. And now, thanks to Cly, it accepts Steam and Steam dollars, and it can be used to make e-commerce website with a web shopping cart and so on, different buttons that you can create customly to accept cryptocurrency for items and selling them online, which is something I've done for decades in as far as e-commerce. So something along that experience and use. Then I want to mention Steamland, which is kind of not mentioned recently. I've reached out to a few people in the community, as I usually try to, that are potentially interested in doing something and checking out. So hopefully we can find the right group of people and get that moving. Otherwise, I'm thinking of making it into a gaming area and offering group updates on Steemit to gather new users, and possibly it's a 3D environment if people are interested in making presentations or having a building there with virtual goods, and it's a simulation so you can actually program things, but it's complex in the way it works, so you have to keep things simple. And I think in maybe a gaming group and then gaming and slot machines and things like that, that's what people like, but it might be a way to introduce people to Steemit and possibly BitShares as well. Why our grid is Bitcoin based, so people are using crypto already. So that might make sense, and that's the direction I'm going to explore in the future. It's been changing, trying different things, and reading and researching potential ideas. I also make a post occasionally of BitShares user issue assets that are Steemit related. This includes Wang Chains and Trailcoin, and it will include Thirsty in the future once that's on the market. And I've invited SensiTK. He will be speaking after me. And Solomon Sense, the SolarCert coin as well at times, and people have traded that against my VirtualGrowth token and Trail and Steem, partially because of my posts. So it's interesting to see that, the interactions that have developed. And I'll pause if anybody wants to say anything, make comments, or ask questions.
I personally would like to ask you just one question. No, actually, you know what? I'll let G-Chicken ask this question here before I get into my stuff here. Do you have time to sleep? Is what he asks. You always seem to be working on so many projects. You are a machine, VG.
Sleep when I'm dead.
Fair enough. Now, and this is kind of along those lines.
Actually, this week I've been working on poker. If people have been reading my post, I traveled to Maryland to play in a Maryland Live casino. They have a promotion where they're paying $500 for 50 hours of poker. And I got here on Sunday night because I was at Foxwoods and it was snowing. So I missed the bus. And then I couldn't buy a ticket at Foxwoods because they don't sell them there. And then I couldn't print my ticket in the business center at the hotel. So when I went to try to get on the bus that night, the guy's like, I can't let you on without a ticket. So I was stuck at the casino. And eventually a guy let me go to another place and get a ticket and then move on.
Well, I'll tell you, man, 50 hours of poker, I would lose so much in the first hour, I probably don't think I could get through 50 of them. So good on you for that. I will also say, kind of along the same lines of G-Chicken, but maybe slightly different. One of the things that I see in you, and I like to say this stuff because the people who join these hangouts, they have something special. I'm not going to lie about it. I always joke and I say, you guys self-identify. I just post a post, and good people who otherwise might never get coverage for the stuff that they would like to try to do, because they're not able to pay somebody to do it, to cover it. It's kind of stunning to see that the amazing people who do come in, and you really have a resilience about you, man, that you don't give up, and you keep trying, and if it doesn't work this way, you slightly change it and test it this way. I want to just ask, as kind of something that maybe you can give to others as far as your experience, what is the value of continually, like, do you see value in just continually pushing forward? And if something doesn't work right away, you keep with it. You might have other stuff. You might put it on the back burner if you feel like it's not top priority. But you always make sure that you're moving forward, and you're identifying and networking with people who are trying to bring value to the ecosystem. And you really try to bring all that stuff together. So I guess my question really comes down to, what to you throughout your experience in life has made it so you feel like this is a valuable thing to just continue striving to continue moving forward and trying these new things that you're trying, and to support so many projects that you're supporting. What are the benefits of not giving up? Do you feel like there's been times in the past where not giving up has really benefited you in this way? Like, I just want to kind of get your experiences into the heads of people who might not see what you see, because I very much feel like I see some of the stuff that you see, and I think it's important for you to, that's one of the things that you can really bring to the table here, to kind of explain to people who might not, who might be afraid to try, or might be afraid that if this doesn't work the way I thought from day one, that it's all over, it's all for naught, I should just throw everything in the damn trash, right? There's so many people who do that. Why don't you do that? Why do you continue doing what you do and always trying to find and build this value?
I'm just going to mention one other thing. Thanks, Mr. Wang, with his wing change, because of the value of it. I'm thinking of creating what's called a wing sense. It will be a fraction of a wing change, and it will gain in value, and we can use it for give-outs, because when I do my pitches, Mr. Wing's too valuable to give away with his wing change. But I just wanted to mention that. As far as not giving up, there's no reason to give up. And when the people who succeed are the ones who fail the most, and through just doing things, this constant process of learning. Part of this, I have been challenged in life. I actually was born 2 months premature and had to deal with numerous things. I'm hearing impaired. I had an operation on my eyes when I was 11 months old. I had seizures when I was 2 months old. I was put on medication that they told my family would make me retarded. They also said I probably wouldn't live. So being through all this in a near-death experience just opens your eyes to so much more. I did my first card show when I was 14 to be kind of the entrepreneur mindset, and then exchanging and trading things. By the time I was 23, I opened my own gaming and collectibles store. When I was growing up, I was in the Boy Scouts before the age of 11 because my neighbor was a scoutmaster. I made it all the way to Eagle Scout, and just numerous things.
I will say it. Go ahead.
And then a little while ago, a little over a year ago, I had meningitis, which is a brain infection that can potentially kill people in 24 hours. And that is a life changer and opening up too. You kind of just want to live because things can happen. So I have a mental illness as well that makes people, let me think, George Carlin says, people, they talk about disabled people, and he says, well, they're not really disabled, they're differently abled. And
Well
when you
stated.
just try to be able differently, well, I do that very much so, and people tend to notice that, I guess.
Well, I notice because there are a lot of people who you bring onto these hangouts, man, and you don't need to, you don't have to. I've never put a gun to your back or, told you that I was going to pay you a bunch of money to bring people who you think are valuable. And you have really come into this community and become part of it. And I've grown to highly respect, at the very least, that you have some dang good ideas, and even if one doesn't catch traction right away, you don't give up on it, because you seem to recognize what I've come to realize, and that is that you only really fail if you give up, and if you continue and you really care and you keep moving forward and trying, that you eventually, something will happen that makes you feel like you've actually succeeded in some way that might not have been obvious before. And it's generally also a journey where you kind of have to learn from the experience oftentimes and kind of assimilate that information and then try to re-strategize things based on the new information you get. And you have to be willing and humble enough to recognize where things need changed. And I have to say, man, I see you never giving up on this stuff, and I see you joining up to talk about it, and you always have updates. You're never quitting on any of it. Like I said, I see you sometimes put something on the back burner, but that doesn't necessarily mean that you've taken it off the burner at all, or that you've turned the oven off. It might be simmering there to be a little bit softer and better tasting at the end of the day. But you seem like you know what you're doing, and it's what's interesting about it is that it's at the same time, to some people who look at it, they might not see that there's actually like a method to it. So I personally kind of feel like I see that. I don't know if you would disagree or agree with me, but I've got to give you credit, man, because if everybody thought that way and everybody came out and tried to build value instead of the stuff that they generally, the infighting and all the other stuff that you generally do see, we would all be so much better off. And you definitely are not afraid to uplift other people. And I really have to appreciate that. And I really appreciate what you're doing with all these other projects too. And I suspect that one of them is going to take off big time. Maybe it's Wang Sense. I don't know, but that's a brilliant idea. And I think Mr. Wang likes it too. And you've kickstarted some markets and BitShares. You've done some amazing stuff already. So I want to thank you. Now, real quick, rather than me always talking about this, does anybody have any questions or comments? Because I know personally I have stuff that I could talk about, but this isn't obviously about just what I think. This is for our entire community. So I'll step back, and if anybody has anything, please feel free to step up. I'll just leave it at that for right now, and I'll back up.
I'd like to know what's happened to the Steam Power Twins. They've gone kind of silent lately.
Steam Power Twins have been around very little. They sent messages to a couple of people. I got a message from them saying that they wanted to talk to me, and then they asked to talk to me at one point, and I wasn't online at that point. So I'm looking forward to them coming back. I just don't know exactly because I don't have much information, and unfortunately. So, but when I do, and when others will, we will bring about information. I guess they're busy, but not hearing anything is frustrating for all of us. So all I can say is I don't have any information, and I'm waiting just like everybody else.
I just wanted to say, Virtual Growth, if you find yourself in the Sedona area, look me up.
I'd love to come to Sedona sometime, so let's stay in touch and I'll do that. I will be in Las Vegas this summer at the World Series of Poker, so maybe after that.
That would be awesome.
I agree.
Sounds good.
Actually, speaking of Sedona, which is about the chakras of the earth and stuff, I've actually researched a lot of that energy stuff very in detail, and the numbers and everything. That's another of my passions. And when I left society, people, family, friends, and everything behind, I had to go live in the woods and go to a library during the day, because that's just a great combination. And definitely lots of learning.
Energy stuff?
Oh yeah, you talk about the number 108 and 432 and 369 being the only numbers.
Oh, now you just went off into an area I'm not quite sure I know about.
I just asked a question, but I wasn't sure what the context was, and I think you answered it adequately enough. Thank you, Virtual Growth.
You're welcome. Energy is everything, and to seek to understand, kind of like the great minds of Tesla and Leonardo da Vinci and everything else.
I didn't know you were interested in that realm, and I'm extremely interested in that realm, so you really perked my interest when you said that.
Be careful with the energy talk, man. You're gonna get some enemies out in the forest coming at you.
There's no lack of enemies out there. There's always opposition to what you try to accomplish that helps many people.
There are no enemies, there are no arguments, there are only misunderstandings. People need to simply learn, and knowledge should not be hidden, as it is almost always.
Knowledge is power, which is why they hide it from you. There's always people that want to get over on. I like the way Ernie Hancock says it. Says there are people that want to just be left alone, and there are other people that don't want to leave you alone.
That is a very good statement.
So this is why I start to see a little bit of the method here to your madness, buddy. You join here and support us because we are so much interested in making sure that knowledge is available for everybody. So thank you, VG.
Just as I mentioned, there was a general in the army at one point that talked about the idea of open intelligence, and you can imagine how quick that was shut down. But blockchain is what is the future of open intelligence, and that is the huge point. Go ahead.
Yeah, you're talking about Robert David Steele, open source intelligence, and he's not been shut down. He was on Alex Jones just yesterday, and he's got a new book, an open source toolkit. Anyway, he's got the open source manifesto. RobertDavidSteele.com is a very interesting website.
Yeah, that's correct. It's just the initial kind of resistance, but he is going forward in leaps and bounds.
Well, that's awesome, man. Well, I really want to ask here, just to make sure before we close this segment off, is there anything that you would like to talk about or cover that we have overlooked in some way or missed in some way that you feel that we should cover it?
No.
Well, I'll tell you what, I look forward to the consistency of your message, and every time that you come to bring us updates, that you are always moving forward in some way, shape, or form. It's been great to hear a little bit of insight into why you do the things you do today. And yes, man, like Solars and Sense says here, thanks, VG, you're always welcome. And that's because you really do reach out and try to empower everyone. And people see it through the actions. You don't even have to say it, because it's obvious to people who watch it.
It all goes forward to an underlying thought of idea of something that would help to free humanity, essentially, but to share that idea, there would be too much resistance to me to actually do it. So it's kind of a roundabout way to create a particular thought of mine that I hold very dear. I'll just put it that way.
Well, if anybody wants to work with you, if anybody finds your incentives, the reasons why you do what you do, to resonate with them, and they feel like they would like to participate or help you, or maybe they would like to work with you on their projects in some way, shape, or form, how do they reach out to you? And let's go ahead and end it on that. But I think that it's important that people have the ability to reach out to you and find out information or work with you in some fashion if they feel like this is an interesting thought to them.
Virtual Growth on Discord, Steemit, Gmail, and Steemit.chat.
And that is Virtual Growth as it sounds. You can literally look up in the dictionary virtual and growth, put those two together, no spaces, and that's how you spell it.
IT is spelled IT, but yes, that's Virtual Growth.
All right. Thank you very much for joining us today, man, as always.
Welcome. Thank you, everybody.
And also, I want to thank you for bringing us or referring in some way, shape, or form Thirsty Entertainment, which is the world's first digital media company dedicated to using blockchain applications, creating innovative business platforms to package and to deliver high-quality content worldwide. Today we're joined by Sensei TK, founder and CEO of Thirsty Entertainment. And he's going to go ahead and he's going to introduce the company, give a little bit of information on what they're about, the details, and then he's going to open up and Ask Me Anything style question and answer session. So I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to say, Sensei TK, are you there?
Hey man, my name's Thomas Corhy. I am the founder and CEO of Thirsty Entertainment, and we're a digital media company. We have dedicated ourselves to using new financial technologies. An example of what we do is we've created a music production platform, or a music label per se, called Thirsty Records. That was actually our initial product or service that we represented through Steemit. We were just curating and distributing music on Steemit. Our goal with that platform is to create studios in different countries and produce different artists and musicians and distribute them using blockchain applications, such as our music streaming service, which we're developing. We are developing a music streaming service called Streams, and we're building that on the Steam blockchain. So we'll be using the same reward system that Steam uses to reward users for curating and uploading music onto our streaming service. In preparation, or as a part of our development, we are releasing our Thirsty digital asset, and we are selling that through a crowd sale during the month of March for all those that are interested. Just as PeerPlays was saying, they give a profit share to investors. Those that hold the Thirsty token receive profit shares through dividends through our token. All those that are registered and hold our token. In order to participate in our crowd sale, it's a requirement to have a BitShares or Open Ledger account. Yeah, we do know about Ujo Music. Our platform is different because we're more like Steemit in the sense that we fund and reward users using a reward pool. So another part that's similar to Ujo is that when users upload their music, they have to set a license agreement so that they can sell that music as well. So users can listen to music, but they can also purchase files and download files straight there from that post. It's more similar to SoundCloud, the way that our platform will be developed. So there'll be a constant feed of musicians. Our revenue stream is similar to SoundCloud as well. We'll have subscriptions for users that want more storage for their accounts. You'll also have a featured artist page where there will be advertising for people. And no, we're not on our own blockchain, we're on the Steam blockchain. The reason we're not building our own blockchain at this point is that we want to increase demand for Steam. We actually believe in the Steam platform, the Steam blockchain, and that network and that community. We would like to increase the demand through our revenue streams and create more of a micropayment market using Stream without fees, or for Steam without fees. So there will be an option on each post where you can purchase a song using Steam and agreeing to that uploader's license agreements. That being said, if you're uploading another person's music, you have to either decline the payment, or you may be liable to copyright. So our main philosophy is we want to bridge the gap between traditional businesses and new financial technologies, and we want to do that through our Thirsty digital asset. And that's why we're using a traditional business platform or corporate structure, if you want to call it that, where we have directors who propose and delegate different protocols for the business. If you are a stakeholder, you have the ability to vote on different proposals through the proposals that directors put forward. That is how our stakeholder platform works, besides receiving dividends. So you essentially have an ownership in our company through our user-issued asset. In preparation to releasing that, so we won't be issuing the asset straight after our crowd sale. We will be issuing them on October 1st because we would like to fund the market's liquidity with $10,000 so that our entire market is valued at 1 cent per share, 1 Australian cent per share. So there will be essentially 1 million assets by October 1st. That's from the initial 125,000 assets. 25,000 of those assets are delegated towards crowd sale investors, and that is essentially 250,000 assets by the time of issuance, because we have 3 stock splits. So those holding the initial 25,000 will receive double, triple on their investment. So another part of, just to hold ourselves accountable for that issuance and crowd sale, we are a legal company. We do have full accountability for our issuance. We do track and record all the BitShares accounts that register with our platform, and we will be delegating the amount of assets issued to each of those investors depending on the percentage of their contribution. I think I've covered pretty much everything so far. Does anybody have any questions?
I do have one question, and I'll, of course, open it up to everybody else. My one question is that you say that you are your own business entity. Can you tell us a little bit about the jurisdiction out of which, in which you reside? Because what we've learned is that all these various jurisdictions seem to have very different take on how to deal with cryptocurrency and the legalities that go with it. So it might be able to offer some insight to provide some information, some details on that.
Yeah, that's a good question. We are based in Queensland, Australia right now. So we comply with the Australian Securities and Investments Council. And a part of that is that we register our assets when incorporating the business, which we're in the process of doing. We've already spoken with legal counsel in regards to that. Our assets are actually registered as a new class code of asset. So when there's not an asset, so essentially our asset is new to ASIC, but through legal counsel it's completely legal. We just have to describe and announce that asset upon incorporation, and we've done that already. So we've created a new class code for our asset.
Interesting. G-Chicken has a question here. He says, have you spoken with ASIC, which is spelled ironically ASIC, which is not to be confused with ASIC's algorithm-specific integrated circuits, which is a very commonly known term in the blockchain ecosystem. But have you spoken with ASIC in terms of asset issuance and what guidelines you need to comply with regarding asset issuance, etc.? And ASIC, I'm assuming, is some body that's in Australia that's dealing with these regs.
So ASIC is actually the regulation statute that the organization that holds the statutes and regulations. I mentioned them just before, the Australian Security and Investment Council.
Okay.
And so the guidelines for our asset issuance is similar to any other share assets. We just have to comply by corporate rules. So we have replaceable rules that we abide by, and that's why we have a corporate structure with a board of directors that delegate company decisions, including asset issuance, for example.
And if somebody is an investor, how does that play into their whole investment decision in your mind? Like,
So
for instance,
if you
like
are an
with,
investor,
go ahead.
if you are an investor in our platform, as I was saying, you have the ability to use your stake as a vote on different proposals. Your vote is a percentage or your stake is a percentage, and that percentage is your vote towards different proposals that we put forward, or the directors put forward, I should say. And beside that is the profit share that we announce each year at the end of the financial year, just like a normal traditional business would. We give a percentage of dividends announced during our annual earnings report, and that is to be distributed to all the blockchain BitShares accounts, that hold our asset depending on stake.
Awesome. And from a legal standpoint, do people who invest in this, do they? I ask simply because I'm an American, and in America, there's very stringent laws regarding financial instruments. And I guess one question that G-Chicken asks is, do you require KYC? But another one that I ask is, from an investor standpoint, is there anything that people should be aware of when they invest?
It is their responsibility to keep track of their capital gains. So any profits gained from us, you do have to pay taxes on those in compliance with your state or your government in that area. And that's not a responsibility of ours, that's a responsibility to the shareholders. But other than that, you just have to comply with your local and state government.
And I bring it up largely because you guys are subject matter experts. You spend a lot of time researching. You have teams of lawyers, perhaps, or a lawyer who's helping you, and you guys are kind of wading through these waters. So it's very enlightening to the listeners who might not be used to so much of this stuff being out in the open. But it's something I think that we should recognize, and we should consistently remind people that governments will look at this stuff as capital gains. And it's important that investors and people who hold tokens in these ecosystems recognize that that is most likely going to happen. So you kind of just solidified what I've suspected and what I've heard a little bit around as well. So thank you. G-Chicken asks, do you require KYC? Sorry. G-Chicken asked here, do you require KYC?
Is that in regards to knowing your customer?
Yes, that is know your customer.
Okay, so yeah, as I was saying, we do register and keep track of every BitShares account that joins us. It is a requirement to have a BitShares account in order to be issued those assets, and so we do need to know our customers, and that's why we want our investors registered on our website.
How has BitShares? Why did you guys choose BitShares for a platform that you were looking at to issue these?
Well, we chose BitShares because we wanted to stay within the digital currency ecosystem and the community, and the user-issued asset was perfect for what we were proposing and what we plan to do, and we can have complete control over it. And the multi-sig as well is perfect for our directorial structure, where our directors have their own signatures on that asset, so we can create a kind of decentralization just like a corporate structure would have with their directors, where it requires a consensus from all directors to issue or change assets. Interesting.
There was one that I think I missed. Here it is. Fox asks, are you working with adcca.org.au, Australian Digital Currency Commerce Association?
We are. We're working with them in a minimal sense. We haven't had a lot of contact with them yet. Our legal team is actually talking to them, but we're more concerned with just registering the assets so far, and we can get their help on doing that. And that's something that we have to look at more in the future. But before we actually go through with our crowd sale, that is a part of our terms, is that it is subject to change if we aren't within the bound of law, because we do want that accountability. It's not so much that we love government or anything like that. It's just that we want to have an amount of liability that is within the bounds of traditional business, something that kind of gets rid of the negative stigma towards digital currencies and investing there, as a lot of people get scammed and stuff like that. And so we want to avoid that by having that amount of liability there for investors and clients.
Thank you. The next question comes from G Chicken. He says, in relation to the KYC, do you need to know the account holder's identity, or is the BitShares account enough to satisfy regulations?
The BitShares account is enough to satisfy regulations. We can consider that as a private holder or a private investor where they do not want to announce their actual identity, but you do have the ability to register your name as well on your registration account or your account details. That's up to you. But otherwise, you are considered a private stakeholder. And we are willing to fight for that because we believe anonymity is a good thing, especially in the cryptocurrency space.
Well, that's an awesome statement, man. Have you been made aware of the stealth transactions that BitShare is going to be offering?
Yes, we have. We're following that closely.
And another question, and I'm sorry for the BitShares-centric questions, but I do like to kind of dig into why people who obviously are doing their homework are choosing BitShares and what the benefits of the platform are. And one thing I do hear from others is that BitShares is ready for KYC compliance and AML and things like these types of regulations. So did that stuff come into at all your decision making to use BitShares? The fact that it has the options to whitelist and things like this?
Yeah, definitely. All the features with the UIA are essentially perfect for what we're trying to do and what we're trying to achieve. And that's why the BitShares UIA was just an easy choice for us. We didn't really want to go public on traditional exchanges like the ASX, for example, the Australian Stock Exchange, because we wanted to keep it digital, and we wanted to have we want to increase the demand for people using digital currencies as their everyday commerce, in their everyday commerce. And so the BitShares UIA was just a perfect decision for us, and we couldn't go past it. It was good.
Thank you for the answer, man. Brindle Swan had a question that I did pass up a little bit because we were in a line of discussion that was slightly off from this topic, but I'd like to introduce it if you don't mind. And that is, he asked a question about share dropping some of the tokens to BitShares or Steam holders. And I don't know if you're familiar with the concept of share dropping, but have you guys thought about it or talked about this at all?
It's not really something that we're looking at doing just because our company is our own. And we increase value for BitShares and Steam it through having our business based there. And so we don't believe we should be issuing assets in that sense. We want to keep our asset more profitable for investors, where there's an increased amount of demand and there's less supply. We would rather have demand than a lot of supply.
Fair enough. And IntelliGuy says, terrific answer. I don't know. Brindle Swan says, how about 0.0001%? I think you want some of your tokens, man.
Well, see, that's why we want to use the Steam blockchain and fund liquidity there, because with streams, you'll be getting tokens through curating and uploading music just as you would on Steemit. So that's where our reward system comes in, and that's why we'll be funding liquidity in that area.
That's really cool, because you kind of are touching with this project upon something that I've often told people, and I believe that Steam is kind of like the yin to BitShares yang in a lot of ways. They very much show that there are synergistic properties between two chains, which kind of, in my mind, at least at this specific point in time, really kind of speaks a little bit to the potential that there are multiple graphene chains could very much create a synergistic effect that benefits all of them at once. That another graphene chain, might not necessarily actually be competition in any way. It might actually create synergies that otherwise might not have been there. Do you see that? It seems to me from what you guys have put up from the strategy that you do see it, but I don't want to put words in your mouth. So I'll just step back and let you kind of touch upon that.
Yeah, we do see it. It's just one of our philosophies as well is that there is a lot of different blockchain technologies out there, and we don't really want to go around making our own. We'd rather use the technologies that have already been created, and we like the Steam blockchain and its technology, and that's why we'll be using it for streams and increasing demand there. But yeah, like you said, the synergy is awesome. We'd like to show other businesses and set an example that they can synergize with these technologies and use them as their own.
Yeah, that's kind of where I stand too. I believe that when we start seeing projects like this that utilize both BitShares and Steam, that we're going to see others start to mimic those projects that succeed in this area. And the more mimicking that you get and the more iterations of that that might change in various ways, but share similar, maybe properties is a good word for it, that they're going to substantially bring liquidity and volume to both of these chains. So I'm very glad that you joined us today, and I'm glad that Virtual Growth reached out to you guys or contacted you or is working with you guys in some way and told you about us, because these are the types of projects that I really love to see coming on board, because they really are helping out and they're utilizing these synergies that we've often talked about and really showing that it's not just a concept, that it's something that can really happen. Now, with that said, I'll just go ahead and I'll ask you, is there anything that you feel like we didn't cover, or is there anything that anybody here who's in attendance, because all of you are essentially blockchain experts, people. You are here, you're nerds who spend too much time, in the eyes of most of the people who you care about and care about you, looking into blockchain tech, and what you're doing is, you're spending time learning about this stuff, and you're gaining expertise that maybe I don't have, or maybe somebody else who's asking questions doesn't have. So if you feel like you have any questions or comments, this is a perfect time to bring them up.
Well, I was kind of wondering, have you guys looked into or thought, and I jumped in here kind of late, so I maybe didn't hear it if you said it, but have you guys thought about artist tokens, or making tokens inside of, like, on top of your own token, well, which would be Steam, I guess, or a BitShares UIA, but have you guys put any thought into or consideration into if or how you could do that?
Yeah, so that's how we'll be using Steam, basically. So we'll be having different ways to use Steam on our platform. You can use it to promote yourself. You can use it to buy different songs and stems as well. You can upload stems. It's up to the uploader to upload their license along with their track. But we don't want to create our own token because we'd rather increase the demand for tokens that are already there. In the future, we'd like to adapt other digital currencies on our platform as well, but we're starting with Steam because it suits our needs.
Right. I think that's a good idea. I like that, it'll definitely bring up the value of BitShares and Steam, and that's a smart move.
At the same time. And you said...
Did anybody else...
I will ask you just one more question. You stated that you guys are going to be aiming for the price point of 1 cent per token, 1 US cent per token. Is that correct?
It's 1 Australian cent per token. That is actually our initial price already. That's why we'll be funding the market with $10,000. There's only a million assets, so that funds that there. But essentially, the crowd sale works as a post-money valuation. So at the end of the crowd sale, that price will rise. We'll be able to evaluate exactly how much our company is worth per share through the contributions that people have made, and that actually sets a target for our post-money valuation, and we can further fund our market from there.
Well, that's awesome stuff, man. These are the things that we've been kind of waiting for. I know that there was a time in the past we had something called BitShares News, and it was meant to essentially enable artists to have, kind of like what Crypto Hippie was talking about, their own tokens that, you know, they would be able to add value to in whatever way you want. Like, for instance, if Snoop Dogg wants to, you know, he goes into Chicago one night and he's going to have a party, and if you have 30,000 Snoop tokens, then you can get in VIP, you know, if you just show them. And, you know, there's all kinds of different cool things that they talked about, but they really, I don't see any real movement personally, and I haven't gotten any updates from them. So it's cool to see that this idea or the concept of bringing music to the blockchain still is persisting, and that there are other people out there who are really putting forth the effort to make it a reality. So I really want to tell you I appreciate it personally. I appreciate Virtual Growth for bringing you on, and I appreciate everybody who joined and asks these questions to Sensei TK. And if you feel like there's anything else that we haven't covered, man, please feel free to speak up and let us know. But otherwise, feel free to let everybody know how they can contact you if they want to join in, or they want to participate, or they want to ask questions. Feel free to go ahead and take the mic.
Yeah, I just wanted to add on your last point there. The reason we made our business model the way that we chose to do it is because there's not very much, there's not a lot of stability in the music industry, and especially in these new blockchain applications. A lot of the ideas that they've announced aren't sustainable, and so we wanted to create a platform that's a lot more sustainable, increases demand for tokens already there, and increases the use of digital currencies. So yeah.
And Steam kind of helps you do that, huh?
Yeah, it definitely does. And we really like the Steam community and that blockchain. Just their values that they hold, they align with ours, is that we want to empower content creators and create a new industry standard where it's more of a free market, and people can independently sell or market their content in a more fair and equal way, and we really believe in that.
And if anybody wants to follow you on Steam, how do they do that?
Yeah, so we actually have our own website already where you can register for our crowd sale if you're interested in investing. That's www.thirsty.online. You can also follow us on Steemit, steemit.com/@thirsty. You can follow myself on Steemit, steemit.com/@senseitk. You can also contact us via email if you need more information or you're interested in joining our team, because we are looking for more people to join us, and that's contact@thirsty.online.
La 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 la.